Welcome back, guys. Thanks for taking the time to spend a little time with me. I definitely appreciate that, guys. And this is going to be a quick one. Quick video, guys. I'm doing this early in the morning here. It's about, 6:17. I'm looking at there's no watch there. I'm looking at the watch, the clock down at the bottom here. But, guys, I had to do this real quick. I'm actually running out of town today, but I wanted to get this video up as well. Give my reaction to last night. Now, hey, man, again, let's let the applause reign in. Listen to the applause. Listen to it, guys. Just listen to that applause. I could not be more happy or pleased by what I'm seeing from my Pittsburgh Steelers in this draft. They coming out. They're firing. They're definitely going defense. Listen, man. Everything that I wanted, everything that I said I wanted to get a corner. See them go out on the limb and go for a corner in the first round. They did that. I said I also would like to see a safety, and I also would like to see a D tackle. They did that. The number 2 pick, we got the kid out of Maryland, Sean Davis. Now, I haven't seen much of him myself. I have seen him play once or twice, because like I said, I'm a football fan. I've watched some Maryland games. Didn't really know who he was, but I've seen him be disruptive and make a couple pass breakups or what have you. Then I just remembered, oh, that's that guy from Maryland. But I watched his highlights, just like most of us do when you don't know these players. You look at their highlights to see what they're about. I'll put a link down in the description with his highlight reel. Looks pretty good. He looks physical. I've talked to some people that know him, some other Steeler fans, and it was like, this kid is a thumper. He can hit. He's very physical. You heard what, some of y'all may not have heard, but if you go to Steelers.com, you listen to the video, and Cornell Lake speaks highly of this kid, saying he could probably start right away, alongside Mike Mitchell, and that's pretty good to hear. We'll see how that shakes out. We do got Robert Golden as well, but we'll see how that pans out. If this kid can step in at strong safety and start, I'm cool with that. He looks like a very physical guy. Let's keep in mind he is a rookie, so we have to see how that works. All right, and then also the number 3 pick, the 3rd pick, this guy, Javon Hargrave. Now, let me say something, guys, real quick, because some people may not always know this. As a huge Steeler fan, obviously, I know kind of the process, and just like some of you guys would, I look at what we generally do year to year as far as draft, free agency, and all that, and I get a grasp of the concept. One thing the Steelers do a lot is they draft from their pre-draft visits if those guys are available. A lot of times they do that. Sometimes they take the best guy on the board that may not have been an actual visit, may have been somebody they've met with before, but he didn't actually visit. So they'll do that from time to time, but a lot of times, they go off of their pre-draft visit. Obviously, these are guys that they targeted, and both Sean Davis as well as Javon Hargrave, the D tackle out of South Carolina State, they were both pre-draft visits. Now, it's interesting because Von Bell was a pre-draft visit as well, and you see that the Steelers, for whatever reason, they elected to go with Sean Davis over Von Bell. The fact that they both came into Pittsburgh, or they met them, at their place or what have you, but the fact that it was an actual pre-draft visit and they decided to go with Sean Davis, gives me a little more confidence in the coaches. Sometimes we got to step back as fans, let them do their job, because it's easy for us to say who somebody should have picked. It's easy for us to say that sitting on the couch. Obviously we can have our opinion based on what we think our need is. Of course, we have that right as viewers. But at the same time, these guys have to know, what they're doing, so to speak. I mean, it's funny because the draft is 7 rounds. You never know where you're going to find talent. Just recently, Kelvin Beachum, he's not there now, but he played very well for us. He was a late draft pick. I want to say he was a 7th-round pick. Antonio Brown, arguably the best receiver in the NFL, 6th-round pick. See what I'm saying? So we can't get so emotionally wrapped up into who we want as viewers, because the talent is out there. There's a lot of college teams, and in those rounds, there's 7 rounds, and There's a lot of talent out there. So let me get to my point. Didn't want to run on like that. Forgive me, guys. Like I said, it's early in the morning. I'm just rambling. But this kid, Javon Hargrave, my God. I had heard a little bit about him, but I had never really watched his footage. And again, I have a link to the, in the description to his highlight reel as well. This guy is phenomenal. Now, the weakness that they say about him is, he may be a bit undersized, with shorter arms and things like that. There's always going to be a weakness on every player, but the strength that this guy possesses. I mean, he's about 6'2", he's at about 300 pounds right now. I mean, look at this guy's film. John Mitchell, our assistant head coach, a defensive line coach, this is the guy he wanted all along. And he said he is ecstatic to get his guy. But look at this footage. I'm going to throw some numbers at you. This dude in 2014 had 16 sacks as a D tackle. Last season, he had 13 and a half sacks as a D tackle. Now, some people would say, yeah, he's playing against maybe lesser competition, being at South Carolina State. But I saw footage of him playing against Clemson, and he's handling those boys as well, handling that line. So it's like John Mitchell said, sometimes it doesn't matter what school you go to, whether it's a big school or not. Listen, James Harrison went to Kent State. That's a known school now because they've had some players come out of there, but it's not like a huge school. So my point is, talent is all over the college rank, the college world. It is all over. And it all depends on the evaluation. Your eye, what you see, and how you evaluate that talent. Sometimes they turn out to be big stars. But like I said, guys, I got to run here. Wanted to wrap up this video real quick. I appreciate all of you guys that watched the first one in regards to round one. But guys, the Steelers are doing something, man. They're doing something. I love it. I love it. Corner first, safety second, and then a D tackle. All needs for our Pittsburgh Steelers defense. So I love it. But like I said, check out these kids' highlight reels. And, make your own assessment. Just, look at them and kind of study them and look at how they play, their physical stature, their body, how they move and all of that. That's what I do when I watch highlight films, is kind of, see what kind of person they are. Like, are they aggressive? Are they real physical? And, are they quick on their feet? Things like that. Try to evaluate it as if I'm a coach or something. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it. Appreciate you watching. Definitely leave your thoughts, leave your comments. I want to hear what you guys think about what we're doing so far. And I promise it will not hurt you to hit that like button. All right, guys, until next time, let me know what you think. Peace. Once again, guys, thanks for coming by. And if you want to interact with me live, head on over to Sim Standard Radio every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, along with Smitty and Azure Effect. The call-in number for the show is down in the description. Now, of course, for more content, go ahead and click the link above. And before you go, don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. All right, guys. Until next time, lights out.